Welcome back to Indiana Diecast Racing and the Death Race. We're down to the top 20 cars, and today we'll see the first two groups of the quarterfinals. For Group 1, the ultimate survivor of the tournament, Brutal is representing Filipiak Performance Diecast in his Lethal Diesel. Brutal was only third best in the Round 1 Lethal Diesel Death Group, but pulled out a big win in the Wild Card Showdown to advance to Round 2, where he absolutely wiped the floor with the competition, winning 3 laps and earning 15 points. In the most recent round, he was edged out by Arlo for the group win and had to defeat Piper Jean from White Knuckle Speed Shop in a runoff. Driver number 2 is one of 5 entries from Arlo Racing to make it this far, meaning we'll have one in each group. Mr. Devilish Dark U, not to be confused with Mr. Dark, who's already eliminated, but we won't talk about that. Mr. D is driving a typical Arlo Ford Thunderbird, putting up 15 in round 1, winning a double runoff in round 2 for second, and finally edging out Linkster for the win in round 3. All the way from Vapor Racing, it's Jake Eli in his turbo turret with a reference to Zoolander in blue steel. A grizzled veteran of the Triangle, Jake Eli tied now eliminated Nate for the win in round 1, eliminated Michael Motorcycle of DRT3K in round 2 with 14 points, and took a solid 12-point win in round 3. The last remaining driver for Heartbeat Racing, Circus, is driving, or flying, How to Electrify Your Dragon, a Tesla Model 3. Circus put up 12 in round 1, 15 in round 2, and beat out Fractal Panda in a second place runoff in round 3. 4 great drivers and only one automatically advances to the semis. Second place moves on to a 5-way runoff for the final 3 spots. Brutal takes the early lead, but he spins. Devilish gets inside, but Brutal somehow able to slam the door, and he pulls away while Devilish slides through turn 3. Circus spins now, and Devilish will claim second behind Brutal. Circus spins in wildly just ahead of Jake Eli. Brutal snags the early lead, but it's amazing how he winds up winning as he survives a wild turn 2. Devilish has a similarly wild, entire lap, so I'm shocked he not only took second but finished the lap at all. Surprisingly, no DNFs on the first lap, with the group nearly finishing in starting order. Jake Eli assumes the pole with Brutal outside. The pack stays tight into one, and this time Jake Eli spins out front. Devilish gets past Brutal and takes a look inside Jake Eli. Jake Eli leads in reverse, Devilish spins, and lap 2 is Jake Eli, Mr. Devilish Dark U, Brutal, and Circus. This time, Jake Eli spun out front, much like Mr. D on lap 1. Devilish able to drive from the back outside to assume second after only 2 turns. Brutal and Devilish tied atop the group with 6, Jake Eli has 5, and Circus quietly in the back with 3. Underdog Circus takes the pole with some ground to make up. Another close start, but Jake Eli gets a nose ahead and tumbles off the track. Circus pushes Brutal onto the wall and blocks Mr. D. They get single file, and it's Circus, Devilish, and Brutal, following Jake Eli's brutal self-inflicted wreck. With the help of Brutal, Jake Eli clearly wins the drag race, but gets turned ever so slightly by Circus and drives off the track. That's going to drop Jake Eli all the way to the back. Mr. D now on top with 9, Brutal 8, Circus 7, and Jake Eli 5. Mr. D and Circus with the final front row advantage. Anything could happen here. The outside lane pulls ahead, and it's Circus again with the lead. They get single file, and Jake Eli spins Mr. D. He completes the pass, and they come to the final straight as Circus wins. Whoa! Ooh! Massive collisions largely avoided, and Jake Eli takes a surprising victory from P4 on lap 4. That lap was so good, I think it warrants a full replay and analysis. Jake Eli does a great job with the initial draft on Circus, getting him alongside Devilish, even if he loses the position out of turn 2. He doesn't give up though, rocketing out of turn 3 and pitting Devilish on the overpass, setting up the pass as they enter the triangle. Circus blows his big lead, possibly due to a tire, spinning and sliding, narrowly avoiding a massive wreck with Jake Eli. Circus tries to throw his rear bumper in front of Brutal, but officials are telling me Brutal was able to sneak underneath, and alas, Circus goes from first to worst all on the final straight. Mr. Devilish Dark Hue takes the group with a string of second place finishes, and Brutal just hangs on to second. He'll once again be headed to a wild card showdown. And now for something completely different. First up for Group 2, it's the man himself, Arlo, in his Acura NSX called Electric Dream. El Patron only managed second behind Applejack in round 1, second behind Ironheart 54's Count Muscula, which is still racing, and finally edged out Brutal for the win in round 3. Looking to avenge his Vapor Racing teammate, Snaky Bob hits the track again in his Black Lethal Diesel. Bob was one of the top 2 from the first round Lethal Diesel group, took second behind Bam Bam in round 2, and most recently was runner-up to Numbskull's Muscle and Blown. Driver number 3 is DRT3K's Sam Hall, driving the only crescendo in the tournament. No noob when it comes to the triangle, Sam has steamrolled his competitors, never once putting up fewer than 13 points in a round, and beating out the likes of Mr. Dark, Dangerous Dawn, and Mega G, just to name a few. Lastly, from G4 Diecast Racing, it's Speedy G, driving a Mustang Boss 302 called Little Mrs. Missile. Speedy put up 15 in round 1, settled for second behind Ollie DeVry in round 2, and took second behind Bam Bam in round 3. Arlo and Sneaky Bob start up front, Sam Hall and Speedy G in the back. Sneaky Bob pulls ahead and leads Group 2 through the top of the track. Arlo spins and Bob's gonna take off. Sam Hall has made it past Speedy G and locks in on Arlo, who slides out of the way, and Sam Hall is gonna drive from the back to claim second. Watch Sam come at it turn 2 and last, but he keeps the wheel inside Speedy as they round turn 2. Arlo's spin allows him to pull even, then he uses the outside lane of turn 3 to clear Speedy, kind of like what we saw in the last group. He takes the final turn so cleanly that when Arlo wobbles, it's game over. Sneaky Bob on top for Vapor Racing after 1. Sam moves up front alongside Arlo for lap 2. A more even start this time, and Sam, it's chaos through 2, and Speedy drops off the track. Sam leads, but Arlo and Bob are not far behind. I take it back, Sam is absolutely torching the track and coasts to the win. Arlo is second, and Bob a distant third. Speedy gets jammed, and when Arlo spins, Speedy drives right up on his hood, causing him to hook a wheel on the inside wall, and Bob sort of finishes him off. After 2, Sam Hall leads with 7, but Bob and Arlo are close behind. Speedy G really struggling so far. Speedy finally starts from the front row, but it may already be too late. He gets a great jump off the line, and Speedy spins out front as Bob falls off the track this time. Speedy bounces off the wall, but for the moment leads Mater style. Arlo falling behind as Sam pressures Speedy, but Speedy G hangs on for a well-fought victory on lap 3. That pesky P3 spot causing problems again as Sam turns down into Bob after turn 1 and forces him off the track. Speedy nearly follows him, but somehow keeps that pony on the track, albeit running in the wrong direction. Sam Hall nearly clinches the semis, and Speedy's gonna need another strong finish to have a chance. The points underdogs, Sneaky Bob and Speedy G, get the final front row advantage. Speedy slowly pulling ahead, and he rolls! No, he's back on his wheels as Bob challenges. Speedy deftly slides through turn 3 and now leads confidently. They come to the finish, and Speedy edges out Bob for the win, Sam is third, and Arlo a mediocre fourth. After that 1-point first half, back-to-back wins is exactly what Speedy needed. After a good push from Sam, he nearly rolls off the track, but somehow he rides his roof rockets, which keep him just upright enough he's able to flip back over in turn 2. Bob nearly makes the pass in turn 3, but Speedy throws an insane drift block, and Bob never again gets a real chance to pass. And that crazy finish allows Speedy to tie it up with Bob. We'll head back for a runoff. Speedy's 2 wins puts him on the inside lane first for this best of 3 head-to-head. Bob wins the race to turn 1, but Speedy comes away with the lead. Bob stays right with him, waiting for a mistake. Speedy doesn't make any and goes up 1-0. They swap and Bob has to win to stay alive. Speedy faster in the outside lane and he nearly rolls again. Bob closer this time, looking for an opening. Bob spins and this one's over. Sam Hall remains undefeated, and Speedy G will head to the quarterfinal wildcard group. Congratulations to Mr. Devilish Dark Hugh, Brutal, Sam Hall, and Speedy G. This has been Jim D for Indiana Diecast Racing. Be sure to check in next time for more slightly above mediocre diecast racing and the continuing quarterfinal action of the Death Race.